I can't believe it. Big George Foreman has gone to be with the ancestors. Heavyweight champ. Big George, man. I mean, one of the hardest hitting punchers of all time. Rumble in the Jungle.
And I did not know he had became a preacher.
You didn't know that?
I did not know.
Yeah, man.
Where you preach at? Mike Tyson's.
Punch you in the face, Pentecostal church.
I mean,
Get saved or die, Baptist church.
My God.
Yeah, he was a minister for me many
He's
years.
been preaching for a while, right?
He was preaching for a good while. Yeah. But I mean, we give condolence to the family of Big George Foreman. All the greats are gone, man. All the greats are gone.
They getting beat up by white boys.
But listen, I think only Larry Holmes is alive now. Ken Norton's gone. Of course, Muhammad Ali. I'm just the heavyweights, I should say. You know, the big guys, the heavyweights.
So is George Foreman Grill's going on sale?
Listen.
I need to know. Can I get a George?
Listen, they're going to have a special edition George Foreman Grill release.
Name all his kids George.
Yeah, he named all of his boys George. It was like four of them?
Something like it.
Five of them?
It was a gang of them.
So it's like George 1, George 2.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah,
they were just all George. They were all, I mean, it's easy. It's convenient. If we had thought about that.
And everybody just got to come at one time.
Yeah, everybody show up George.
When you get here, I'll tell you which one.
Exactly. You don't have to call 5 names when it's time for dinner or whatever. But no, I mean, it was shocking to see it. I saw it the other night when I was out to eat with friends. And you're right, man. I mean, he's the model of, you know, putting his name and getting involved in something outside of his sports career. And everybody knows the George Foreman Grill, man. I think that was the first thing I bought when I went to college.
Is that right?
It was a George Foreman Grill, man. You couldn't tell me nothing. Chicken breast on a George Foreman Grill and some lemon pepper seasoning. You couldn't tell me nothing.
I saw a meme today.
Okay.
The casket was a George Foreman.
No, not the casket.
They was like, too soon? I'm like, yeah, God, too soon.
I need to find that. We should have put that up.
That's hilarious.
We should have put that up on Facebook.
That's funny.
The George Foreman casket. Somebody would use it.
I like, though, that guys, you know, find stuff outside of their, you know, field. And I think, you know, at this point in time, you almost got to, man, because these cats, man, they, especially in sports, these careers ain't lasting real long.
No. You absolutely have to have a plan.
I was very happy that I saw, I think Allen Iverson got another contract with somebody for like $4 million or something like that.
Well, he probably needs it. He's probably got a bunch of.
Oh, he was broke.
Yeah.
He was.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on.
But yeah, I know he still got a big contract when I think he has to turn like 50 something
for him to get the rest of his pay.
But he made a contract with somebody. So
practice.
Okay, the thing about George Foreman and the George Foreman Grill though was after a while they went too far.
Yeah,
because first you had the regular grill. I remember the regular original grill. That mug was sleek. It was nice. Had a little tray to catch all your grease and all. Mm-hmm. Then they came up with like the family grill. Mm-hmm. Okay. Then after that, they had like the mini grill where you could only do like 1 or 2 burgers at a time. The next thing you know, they had a real grill you could do inside because my Aunt Rosa has one. And she was in the kitchen with this real grill. I'm like, and the funny thing is, even though it's just an electric grill with the little plate top on it, it still felt dangerous to me. Like this month, like I was waiting for flames to come up and you got to spray it with water. You know how you have to spray it? And they just came up with so many models that and then you stop seeing them because everybody else caught up with their own versions of things, you know. Yeah. But I mean, he jumped on it. I mean, there's no telling how many. He made a killing. And God bless him for making a killing.
Absolutely.
And
apparently the church wasn't doing that well. Huh?
And it was such a simple design. Wasn't nothing, you know, it was just
a slant grill with some humps in it.
Smashed it down.
And I tell you what, that mug was a burger to clean, man, because you got to go between the grooves and he cleaned it. But I mean, it was a phenomenal thing. And again, that is a model, man, of what it's like for someone to catch the right opportunity and chase it for all it's worth. Glenn said Shaq hooked him up. Now, Shaq's another one that's got franchises everywhere, man. Shaq probably owned our Taco Bell in Warren, for all we know.
I was watching an interview with him the other day, and somebody was like, don't you live in Miami? I live everywhere.
He lives everywhere, right?
I live everywhere.
He owns like half of Papa John's.
Everything.
He owns the rights to Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah,
and a couple
yeah.
other people.
See, he's out there buying
Shaq
like
Ballin'.
portfolios, of stuff.
Shaq Ballin'.
But I'll just say this before we jump off of this and get into first things first. I miss heavyweight boxing.
Man, yeah.
When the guys felt like monsters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They felt like monsters. I think there were some new guys. I think it was Dante Wilder and a couple of guys that are of that size. But to me, it hasn't been since like Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield that you saw these giants, like these true heavyweights. Everything went to the smaller guys, like the Money Mayweather and Floyd. Not Floyd. But who was the white guy? The Irish
Pacquiao.
guy. Yeah, Pacquiao, but it was the white guy for a while that was the MMA guy, and then he got in trouble.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
So it just went that way, and it didn't feel like these big brutes anymore. These just stare at each other's faces, and it's like a lot of gamemanship, a lot of like schoolboy type fights, and the fights would look like it.
They run.
They
run.
And now the only heavyweights we get are cats that should not be fighting, like Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., who should not be out there fighting. And Tyson versus Jake Paul
Tyson
and stuff like that, man.
Again.
But he's the last of the heavyweights.
Yeah.
And he's still trying to be a heavyweight. And then he get out there and he's like a dead weight. But I mean, I've missed that, man. And I've even shown my boys some old fights. And obviously boxing isn't now what it was. Like, boxing is this massive thing, but it's not like in the culture the way it once was.
Oh, nah.
When I was coming up.
Because they don't have the guys like.
They don't have the larger than life guys. You have to like make these guys larger than life. But when I show, and I'm probably going to make, because it's on Netflix, I'm probably going to make my boys sit down and watch When We Were Kings, which is the documentary about the Rumble in the Jungle.
Right.
And to me, that's just a whole. I mean, you had Don King taking these cats to Africa, to Manila and the Philippines, Thriller in Manila, like take it over like Michael Jackson. Those are the days when a superstar go to another country and take over the whole country.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? And like we just don't have that exact kind of thing going on. Thank you, Glenn. 2 rounds of nothing right now. That's what it is. It's 2 rounds of nothing. It's more in who's singing the national anthem and all that than it is.
I used to love it when Mike would knock somebody out in 30 seconds.
Man, listen.
You paid for a whole pay-per-view, Joe.
Man, I cried when he lost to Buster Douglas, man. That was the injustice of a generation.
It was heartbreaking.
Because that was our hero. He was supposed to be our hero. And I was, about 10, 11 at the time, if that. And when that happened, man, that was it. And thank you, Scott. You're correct. We were all afraid of Tyson and never even met the dude. We were all afraid of Tyson.
I met Tyson.
Still afraid of him.
Well, I actually technically met him because he was in Southington for a grip.
Yeah, I met him at the mall in Victoria's Secrets.
Before or after the prison term.
I don't remember. No, that was when Kahunaville was upstairs.
Okay.
And my son was having a birthday party up there, and I went downstairs to get my wife's gift from Victoria's Secrets, and they shut Victoria's Secrets down. I'm like, "What are y'all doing? I'm in here." And Tyson was in there with some girl, man.
Condolences to the girl he was with. It looks like our Facebook comments went down, but I'll try to monitor them and keep track of. Yeah, you see a little error at the bottom.
Oh, okay.
But I'll keep looking. Good to see you. Yeah, he is Brownsville, Brooklyn's own, Pastor Tatum. And good to see you. I had a chance to hook up with Pastor Tatum and Pastor Kevin Osborne at Berean in New York. Bishop Clark preached the horns off of Billy Goat Friday night at Berean in New York and Queens, New York, and New Jerusalem Worship Center. I mean, he preached a word of hope for the preacher and the parishioner, boxed in but not blocked out. Wow. I would encourage everybody to go to the Berean or New Jerusalem worship page and watch that sermon from Friday night. Bishop Timothy J. Clark preached as only he can.
Boxed in,
but not blocked out. A word of hope, particularly for the black community, the black church, and the black preacher, considering the times that we are in. To pick up our heads, to dust off our coats, and preach hope to our people. Preach strength and courage to our people, that God is still going to deliver and get us to our destiny. But he went through. I mean, he preached a history lesson. He preached a prescription of what is going on in this world right now and in our country. And I'm just grateful for the fact that he was so bold and encouraged us to be bold. Absolutely. So I gotta give my props to Bishop Clark and Bishop Rice for being such phenomenal hosts and all the funny, wonderful brothers and sisters that we saw this particular week. Well, I want to jump on the first things first. Okay. And again, I'm monitoring some of you guys' comments. We can't see them on the big screen tonight, but keep commenting, like, share. Good evening, Sister KK, Sister Charity, Hope, Sister Roslyn, of course, Pastor Tatum and Pastor Kevin, Pastor Glenn and Cora, and everyone else who's tapping in. Make sure you like and share. Scott, always good to see you. So it looks like Teslas are 2 for 1 right now. If you go to a dealer, you got to buy one, get one free on Teslas.
And I still wouldn't buy that.
You still wouldn't buy one?
I still wouldn't buy it.
It might actually be worth it now.
I mean,
they're dropping in value. People who want to trade them in can't give them away. Yeah. They can't give them away. I'm talking
watching them running the buildings and all kind of stuff. I
still think they're cool vehicles. I mean, I do not care for Elon Musk, but I can't deny. No, now I'll tell you what, the truck is garbage.
That truck is horrible.
The truck is straight trash, and we saw it up close and personal at the auto show, and that's a trash vehicle.
It is.
It is a trash vehicle. It really is. I mean, I get it's like you're futuristic. If you gave an elementary school kid a bunch of research and designers and they got to make them build the way with all I get it, the computer stuff and all that and the power, but the build of it, some of them are already rusting.
Wow.
And I read an article, the details on how you have to wash the car are so specific.
How you got to wash it?
Of what you can do and what you can't do to wash the car and what you can use and what you can't use. You're right, Tatum. They just had a recall on the truck. Just had a massive recall on the truck. Like panels are falling off the truck.
He rushed that anyway.
I think you're right.
Yeah, he rushed it.
Do you guys remember when he did the demonstration with the window and he threw like a ball at the window, like a weighted ball, it wasn't like a bowling ball, but it was like a weighted metal ball, and it was supposed to be a indestructible window, and the window broke on stage. And you do know, by the way, he did not found Tesla. He bought it and took it over in its infancy. And he's not the primary inventor. He's just the weight behind it. And I'm not saying the man's not a genius in some way, shape, or form, but he's put his genius behind the geniuses who had already formed out this technology. And God, I hate to say God bless him. I'm not sure if he deserves to be blessed by God for what he's doing right now. But I would just say, I get that he took a product that had only been a dream and just leapfrogged everybody, and really set a standard that everybody's trying to chase with. And I do think Teslas are cool, but they become like a scarlet letter on the road now. People are like,
do they burning them up?
People are burning Teslas.
Yeah, man.
I'm waiting for Trump to make it the official car of
the official car of America or the police.
Yeah,
no, that'll never happen.
Police riding around in Teslas.
I think Elon Musk is literally a good example of a person. Now, I can't say how this is going to play out because unfortunately these dudes always seem to land on their feet. But he's a person who's definitely let his hubris get a hold of him, and the fact that he is connected to so much power with Trump that he's thrown so much caution to the wind because he got so much influence so quickly in so many different sectors. I mean, he's running the internet in Ukraine and in many places around the world through that Starlink satellite stuff he does where you can't have internet without him, basically. He has all the government, a lot of government contracts for these space rockets and all that. And, his SpaceX rocket brought the astronauts back recently. The government did these ridiculous contracts for I think it was 4,000 Cybertrucks or something like that. So he's mixed in with this, but I don't think he saw what kind of crash it was going to create for the business. He was going to be impervious, and they actually interviewed him about it. He almost looked depressed. I guess it's kind of tough right now because the stock was tanking.
Yeah.
And again, Teslas that were selling for $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 aren't selling for $26,000 now. They can't resell them.
I don't care.
I would get one as a toy if it was cheap enough. People are putting different name badges over the Tesla and putting Toyota. How insulting is that? To put a Ford emblem or a Toyota emblem or Honda.
What he's done to these workers, I could care less if they start selling for $5,000, I still wouldn't buy one.
Yeah. And I agree with that.
A penny.
And I agree with that wholeheartedly. And when I went to Lock Carry Conference, by the way, and a lot of our home base is Maryland. We're our home base, our administrative offices for Lock Carry Foreign Missions is in Maryland. And a lot of the pastors are from Virginia. They said the devastation they are seeing right now, the type of aid they used to offer to the homeless and resource fairs and stuff for like they're offering it to federal workers now. Wow. And have to process thousands of people and get them set up in a system. And let's just be clear, no matter what you think of government, I know a lot of people thinking it's bloated, a lot of federal workers, but keep in mind, all these people are doing something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so many computer systems. There's so many phone calls. We're already hearing about people in the Department of Education who can't get their student loan questions answered. They were doing something, but now they were hardworking, wage earning, buying people who are productive tax paying members of society who now have to walk into a space where, you know, they have to get in line with somebody who has never even had a job.
Right.
And try to figure out, how do I even navigate a system? I was the unemployment guy. You know what I mean? Like, they were like, I was the one answering the phone for unemployment, and now I'm the one filing for it. Like, what does that look like? And just the devastation that they are seeing. I get that government has bloat. For those that don't know, Bill Clinton shrunk the government while he was president.
Yeah, he did.
But I think he did it without doing mass random layoffs of people that he didn't know he needed to keep and had to go back and beg them to come back, like the people who track viruses.
Right.
And people who do essential work that they keep laying off and then trying to find them and saying, well, that was a mistake. And I don't know what good can come out of that many people being laid off at the same time in so many high wage earning. That's almost like steel mills closing and plants closing. Right. The same devastation that a Trump or anybody who would come to Lordstown. Remember when he said, don't sell your house? Yeah. Because he knew the devastation that would cause if thousands of people lose their good paying jobs. How do you not think that no matter what correction you're trying to make, no matter what type of policy you're trying to implement, how do you not think that that's not going to create a massive strain? And on top of that, the constant tariff battles and threats, nobody knows what's going on. Even the people who support him in those higher corporate level positions are like, dude, you need to calm down and pick a path. Because it's not even the tariff, it's the fact that they don't even know if he's doing them or not.
Right. It's all crazy, man. Then you got Chuck Schumer out here helping all the 10 Democrats. Listen, they got all that money is for 3 more months.
Thank you.
And you're going right back to the same.
And you'll be right back at the table.
Man, if they don't let that
Talk about we didn't want the government to shut down. It's already shut down, brother. Where are you at?
It's been shut down since he took office.
Where are you at? And I mean, I get it. There are no easy answers right now. If you're a Democrat or on the side of some sort of reasonableness, including Republicans who are scared to speak up and say it's too much.
Absolutely.
Republicans are literally, and I'm talking the more moderate individuals, the ones that would be, you know, the pushback, the ones who are losing jobs and contracts in their districts. Right now, their states are suffering. They're closing VAs and canceling services to veterans and other vulnerable populations. They are afraid, not just politically, they're afraid for their lives.
Right.
Yeah. But that's one of the problems I'm having. Like I said, listen, when the Democrats, and I don't want to say we, but when the Democrats
go ahead and say we. Y'all Democrats. I'm an independent.
When the Democrats was doing the same thing, Mitch McConnell didn't cave. He filibustered that joke.
This cat.
That's
exactly.
what you do.
He would
That's
filibuster.
What you do. You filibuster until you can't filibuster no more.
And you're right, Scott. And I'm sorry we can't show the comments, but they don't want the blame for the shutdown. But again, and I agree, they don't want the blame. Nobody would want the blame for the shutdown, right. But we are in such perilous times. And my big thing about, besides the fact that I do not think Trump is a good man, period. I just don't think he's a good man. I don't think he's a good person, period. He has, as Bishop said, he is amoral at best.
Right.
At best, he's amoral, but we all know he's immoral.
Right.
But my issue is that his proclivity for escalation, you know what measuring contest is what it is to him all the time.
He talked too much.
Is the and the thing is, in the face of, I'm talking radical. Now, when you talk about the people, There have always been protests on both sides of the people. I would argue that the more radical and violent protests have been on the conservative side. But you make a good argument for the things that have happened in the streets around injustice and Black Lives Matter, because a lot of that has gotten out of control too. Antifa type people doing this, radical, the communist, socialist folk that jump on the liberal side. They've broken a lot of windows, created a lot of chaos. So whether it's Tea Party or that side, whatever. But the person in charge, when it was a Barack Obama or a Joe Biden, they would seek to bring down the temperature. They would seek to be some sort of bridge. And I'm talking fiercely disagreeing, anger on both sides. I don't always believe both sides are equal, as Trump would say. Trump does not have that demeanor. Right. And so now that, for instance, when you're looking at people burning down Tesla or trying to burn up Teslas or vandalize dealerships and things like that, a Democratic leader would say, that's not what I stand for.
Right.
A Democrat leader would say quickly, that's not what I stand for. And even if it was a Democratic supporter, if Elon Musk was Mr. Democrat, sideshow, side president person, the Democrat would say, I'm not going to let this escalate by saying that this is terrorism or saying I'm basically going to hang these folk. They would try to bring down the temperature. Trump doesn't have that at all.
He doesn't. The one thing I did see over the weekend, and probably the greatest thing I've seen since this whole president has become president, was it said if they are able to amend the whatever for Trump to run another term,
they're gonna try to do it.
Then the same thing should go for Obama. Right?
Listen,
hey, and I don't know if he will run, but
he needs to.
That's the only.
He's probably the only dude that can win.
He can win.
He's the only person that can win right now, to be honest.
Listen,
because the Democrats
take
are
one for the team, Barack.
weak. I'm saying what I'm saying, and I'm gonna keep saying it. From the local all the way to the national, the Democratic Party is a lost party. I don't know what you stand for. I don't know what your strategy is. You're divided yourselves. You can keep informing us of what's happening. You ain't doing nothing to stop it. And I listen. I get the notices from Reverend Simon. We're going to do a forum and share what's going on legislatively. Thank you for letting me know, but I'd rather know what exactly are you going to do to fight it in enough way that actually makes a difference, because telling me about it ain't doing jack squat about it, truth be told. And I get that what we want to do is get folks to the polls. I will humbly offer that panic politics still doesn't work on our side. It seems to work for the conservative side. They're making my kid read a book about sex, or, they're all a bunch of communists. Apparently it works for that side. It has not yet worked. And I really do believe with all my heart now that Joe Biden getting elected during the pandemic was a fluke. I really believe with all my heart. Joe Biden getting elected during the pandemic was a fluke.
We got to move, but we need to talk about that some more. We need to talk about that some more. But go ahead. Where else we got to go?
We ain't got to go nowhere. I'm done. That's all I had to say. But no, I just appreciate the conversation about that, because, if you want a Tesla, go ahead and get one. But it just goes to show we are in such uncertain times, and I preached it today. You better be ready and stay ready.
Absolutely.
Somebody sent me an article, and I didn't get to read it yet. They just sent it the other night. But I guess Trump and Elon are using the same playbook that they use in Argentina.
Okay.
I guess it was pretty much the same thing. They went in and just fired everybody and started over. And again, I haven't read it yet, but I thought it was pretty interesting.
I'm pretty sure Argentina's not doing too hot.
Right.
They're not right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
again, I would just say that, if you're upset, if you're upset about what's going on, then you have to take every precaution, whether it's staying away from Walmart, whether it's staying away from Target, whether it's staying away from Tesla.
Buy a gun. That's my advice. You can boycott who you want. Just don't boycott. Before you boycott the gun store, buy a gun. How about that?
We all need one. I got one, but you sure enough need one at this point.
Scott said Stephen A. 2028. Scott said Stephen A. You have to feed his comments, Mike. So we can't read the comments.
Why all of a sudden he into politics, man?
Because he's just because we live in the era of loudmouths.
Yeah,
that's why. We live in the era of rich loudmouths. That's why the people who are being floated on the Democratic side right now are Stephen A. Smith, The Rock, and Mark Cuban, because we're living in the era of rich loudmouths. Think about that.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now.
He's on a show with Chris Cuomo and Bill O'Reilly. So you got Chris, Bill O'Reilly, and Stephen A.
Wow,
like, man,
where did
this come from?
This is why I can't watch this crap.
That's
I can't do it.
Just saying those three names together, just wow.
Right.
Somebody said, Carol said, Brother Martin said, I think the Dems bought too much into when they go low, we go high mantra. I know you don't want to become what you are against, but you don't roll over and give up the fight.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why they're looking at somebody like Stephen A., who actually will, act as crazy as.
But he'll be taken less seriously. I mean, sports guy versus venerated fake business guy. It just, I'm sick of Stephen A. Smith. But we all know, do what you can. I never tell you not to vote, but I would tell those that maybe lean closer to where I would lean politically, please give us something more dynamic to vote for. Because the fact of the matter is, no matter how much you want to think about it, it is an energy, vibe, and popularity contest in a lot of ways. And just reason, just logic, just panic, just scare tactics. I said this about our youth. I said it a couple weeks ago. You can't scare unscarable people, to be honest. Like, there's just too many people who are just in this weird flux. So you got to catch the flow where it's at and run with it.
Yeah.
So I don't know the answer because I'm not that high up, but I know the answers y'all giving ain't working. So it is what it is. Tatum said, throw the whole government away.
Just reset, start over.
Right, reset and start over. All right. Again, we can't read your comments, but I am looking on my phone. Mike's looking on the phone. We had a little glitch. Might need to restart the whole podcast. We don't want to lose you all, but y'all do know what time it is. It's time for Meme of the Week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
Welcome to Religiously Incorrect, ladies and gentlemen.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the
Week. Thank you. Send us your memes of the week.
Meme of the Week. Meme of the Week.
We are, these are all jokes. We are just playing.
All right, so being, a participant and longtime worship leader, myself, I know the value of crowd participation. There's nothing more beautiful than getting the congregation, and I've been a big proponent of that. You should sing songs people can sing.
Absolutely.
Big proponent of that. People get aggravated if it's older songs or they're rundown songs, but you'd be surprised at how many people, to that, it's fresh, to us, we've been doing Every Praise for 15 years. But what happens when you try to get some crowd participation and it just doesn't go well? What happens when your crowd participation in church flops? Well, this is what happens.
Like all the men, I want you to help me sing it, men. How great. Come on, brothers. Sing with me. Where the men at? All will see. Come on, brothers. Is our God. Ralph Prayers, help them sing it again. Break the music. Come on, man. Sing with me. Sing with me. How great is our God. All will sing how great. That's it, brothers. How great is our God. All the ladies.
The dog face got me. Okay, but I have two comments. First of all, how you gonna clown your own failure to get people to get involved in worship? Ben said, Minister Pay, good to see you this weekend, man. He said, nope. First of all, you're clowning yourself, and you should clown yourself, because this is what I would think as a man in that audience. Maybe if you were dressed like a man.
Right.
And not a member of the revolution in 1985.
I thought he was Michael Jackson.
You were dressed like Wendy and Lisa from the revolution.
Coke, yeah.
He was dressed like Shalimar. Maybe you wasn't dressed like the Jackson 5 in the Victory Tour.
My God.
I would sing with them. Carol said the brothers left a half hour ago. The playoff game started at 1. Corey said, where them fans at? Listen, first of all, in a lot of churches, number one, men don't always participate like that, no matter how much you want them to. But second of all, that is a perfect example. And I am ragging on his outfit and their demeanor. I am ragging on that because they expect to have that like performance set up, and average men aren't usually impressed with that, especially when you get up like that. I'm sorry, I am judging him. I'm judging him.
I'm judging the whole praise team because first of all, none of them could sing.
None of them could really sing, correct.
So I ain't about to sing with your unsinging stuff, and I can't sing myself.
Exactly.
Second of all, the guy down there on the floor, the deek on the floor, just run that back, Mike.
Security.
Yeah. Oh, is it security?
I mean, he was like,
was that his excuse?
I ain't saying
He
nothing.
was mean mugging.
Was his excuse? Well, I would mean mug that too. Play it again. I'll tell you, I started
He
mean
was
mugging as soon as I saw brothers.
All the men, I want you to help me sing it, men. How great. Come on, brothers. Sing with me. Where the men at?
That's Barry Sanders.
All will see. Come on, brothers. Is our God. Ralph Prayers, help them sing it again. Break the music. Come on, man. Sing with me. How great is our God.
I'm telling you, man, I can't do it. I can't do the playing. That's the thing. I can't do the playing. Thank you, Scott. We need to bring hymnals back. Men will sing some hymnals.
Yeah.
Pass me now. They'll sing that. They'll sing some "Let Jesus Lead You." Grover will lead that. Grover will lead that off key. You don't care. But I mean, I don't get the playing. Why do you even show up to lead worship looking like that? I'm sick of it. I really am. I'm sick of it. We have kind of in low key ways brought back the fashion show in a different model where it's not about dressing up anymore.
Right.
It's about dressing weird. That's become the new thing. Trying to be so super fashionable, not into traditional fancy suits and big hats and stuff. Those of us who are a little younger, we're doing it weird and thinking that we're being relatable and contemporary. I'm just being me and unique. And I feel like it's another form of the show.
Relatable or contemporary. That was horrible.
Yeah.
Just horrible.
That was
trash.
Rick James Goes Gospel. That's what that was. I was trying to think of it. What's the family with all the light-skinned singers?
The Barge.
Yeah, that's the Barge. That's the Barge. I mean, to me, if it doesn't go out well, you just abandon it right away and try to get back into a worship mode. You don't do this.
Since when they start making double-breasted shirts.
Double-breasted shirts.
I told you it was a Prince shirt.
You stole that from the Warren G. Hardy marching band. This cat.
Old Purple Rain.
He just cut off the bottom.
This cat, this cat, old drum major reject. He couldn't make it in drumline. They put him out at Jackson State University. Yeah, we can't do that, man. I won't follow you in worship if you look like something I wouldn't follow through my own front door. Woo, that's a good one, Scott. I won't follow you in worship if you look like someone I wouldn't follow in your worship. Carol says, seriously, he said the light-skinned singers took me. That's what they is. That's what they is. Oh, I love it. I love it. But I mean, it's the truth, man. I mean, there has to be a better, way of doing this. So,
yeah. Once again, I'm gonna say it, and I know a lot of people don't like it. Go back to choir robes.
Go back to choir robes.
Back to choir robes.
They'll sing with you if you've seen Hezekiah Walker. Listen, the little dove.
Mm-hmm. That little dove.
Mm-hmm. That little TBC.
Yes, sir.
Tri-Stone Baptist Church. You go on ahead and have that. The Voices of Destiny. Go on ahead and put that on.
Put it on.
Call it a day. Call it a day. All right,
Put
y'all.
it on and march in.
All right. We want to thank our sponsors, the Phillips family of businesses. Phillips Care Lawn Services is already warming up. You already know what to do. Call our people and let them know that you want them to get started early on your lawn. They've been in business for well over a decade. Call Phillips Care at 330-219-7916. You already... Listen, where's... We got inside jokes up in this piece. While you're at it, check out Phillips Care. I wasn't coughing. You got me started. Phillips Care Cleaning Service, residential and commercial. They take care of it. If it has to do with your house or commercial building, don't waste your time. Let them do it. Call 330-219-7916 or check out Phillips Care LLC on Facebook. Planning the perfect event? Look no further at Annex Events. We've got everything you need to make your event unforgettable. From stunning tents, comfy chairs, and all the extras, we've got you covered. Super Bowl parties, graduation parties, corporate events, and of course, church banquets and anniversaries. We cater to all. Plus, our friendly team will handle the setup and breakdown so you can relax and enjoy the day. Call Annex Events and let's make your next celebration a hit. Mention the Religiously Incorrect podcast and receive 10% off your first rental. 330-979-2909 or visit annexevents.com. Now, when do I get to start just freestyling that? Because I've been reading the same script. I think I need some creative license now.
Go ahead, you got it.
Need some creative license. All right. Y'all want them giant throne chairs? Call Annex Events. All right. Back to it. Tonight, I forgot the title of our show, but it doesn't matter. We're talking relationship status.
Relationship status. There it is.
On Facebook. What's your relationship? I think they took that off finally, or they like pushed it way down.
I haven't seen it.
Like, they pushed it way down. You got to like click on the about. You know, if you're a stalker, when you actually hit the about tab, you really want to know about somebody. But really, we used to have relationships that are single, divorced, widowed, and then they started adding it's complicated.
Right.
So I think that's a part of why they took that off. But Pastor Jeff did a phenomenal thing, and we've done it in the past, and I've honestly, shamefully can say we have not re-engaged. But the Ville, Second Baptist DeVille in Steubenville, they have engaged in marriage ministry. And I want to kind of talk about how we navigate that as pastors, marriage ministry, singles ministry, when relationships happen in the church, when relationships end in the church, when there's complicated realities and how we minister to that. But I kind of want to start with, tell us a little bit about the marriage ministry at the Ville and, what it has done and what you hope to do and your recent outing you guys had.
Absolutely. Well, I've always been a big proponent of marriage ministry. We started back at Beulah doing the bond ministry, and I've just carried it throughout.
You did, yes.
And I think it's always good because I believe in allowing those who are married to engage with my wife and I, and just to see, it's always good to see what else other married people are doing and just having fun outside of the confines of the four walls. So on Saturday, we all just went out to dinner. We just met. I think it was 11 married couples who came out. We just sat around, talked about when we got married, how long we had been married. Great. I mean, from I think it was 54 years down to 4 years.
Which brother forgot their own anniversary? Because there's always one.
Me.
Oh no!
No, it's not. It wasn't. It's not. It wasn't. I didn't forget my anniversary, but I think I said 20 years, and it's going to be 21.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I always mix up our years because we're on New Year's Eve.
Right. Well, that makes sense because it's a crossover.
It's that crossover year.
Right.
So it was funny because I started off and I was the first one. I'm like, Tiffany was like, no.
Listen, that ain't nothing worse.
Me out like that.
Ain't nothing worse than your wife correcting you because you don't remember how long you've been married.
Right.
Man, I love it.
I mean, it was just good to do, and and we talked about doing like a book on marriage, like a little book club type thing.
Oh, like a book club.
Yeah, like a little book club.
Okay.
With marriage stuff in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're next time we're gonna go to a comedy club too.
Okay.
Yeah, so
comedy club. Y'all go see Cat Williams.
And I told him we're gonna sit up front.
No, so y'all, listen, you gonna cause some divorces.
This the whole church and came up here. But
right.
It's good. It's good to do, man. It's good to do.
I get it. I love that concept. And again, we've done a couple of outings, and I'll say this on behalf of myself and all pastors. It's 2025. So I know what I want to say, and I'll say it so that we don't have to say it no more. Then the pandemic happened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because anything you don't do as much as you want. Half these cats is lying. They didn't probably have it before the pandemic.
Right, absolutely.
But they'll pretend like they had it because nobody remembers what the before times. Like before the war.
It's like, like it never happened.
Like it never happened.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
But marriage ministry, we did some outings, and one that we did was went out to dinner. very much in the same space. And I still remember the picture pops up in my memories, and it was a wonderful group of couples, getting out there and eating and enjoying each other. It's a challenge, I think, and I'm speaking for myself, and I hate to say this as a pastor, but I'm probably making a proposal in a way, in the same way that I'm talking about it. I'm pontificating about it, making a proposal. Like, you definitely need dedicated people to guide that endeavor. It can't all come back on the pastor. It's something that has to just kind of flow, and somebody who has a passion for that. And so, Second Baptist, if you have a love for marriage, and
you are absolutely. Brother Jerry and his wife done a phenomenal job, and they called, text, make sure everybody was going to be there, make sure, told, listen, we making reservations, so if y'all make sure y'all show up.
And that's, thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
Because that's another part about this, and this goes with any unique ministry that people want to see, or I don't want to say envious of, but we admire in other churches, or somebody come and tells you what they've done in their church. There has to be a willingness to engage in like a light-hearted openness. Like, you have to be game for it.
Right.
You can have all the greatest ideas in the world, but if the people, especially in some ways, it can be a little shaky, because if the core people in your church who you might count on to be the anchors of it aren't game and open and kind of reserved and a little hesitant and resistant and even a little what would I say, like devil's advocate,
right?
Like, I don't think this is gonna work, and not really responding if someone does take on that charge, they put out that date, they make that reservation, nothing's worse than assigning someone to do something. They have a lot of energy, and then they struggle to get engagement.
Right.
Because not only do you kind of discourage the effort, but you discourage the persons who are putting themselves out there. Like you said, made reservations. Y'all better show up.
Right.
So there has to be a healthy level of engagement and willingness. And I would love to see it at Second again. We did it very sparingly. And I'm talking marriage ministry. We'll get to the single side in a second. I think Mo said something about singles.
That's a different ministry, Mo.
It's a different ministry.
It's funny because when
we'll teach y'all how to get a husband. I wouldn't mind doing that. I wouldn't mind, because there are things that I think men could say.
Absolutely. That
would be like, yo, and if you could be as blunt as you need to be, like, there are some things that I could see, because there are things that even though I'm married, I could look at another person and be like, that ain't gonna catch nobody good. Because it wouldn't catch me.
The way you acting.
Whatever it might be. But anyway, I do think that there is a space for that. But what are some of the benefits of marriage ministry as it concerns the church?
Well, I think one of the the funny things we started off, because we talked about it before we go, and I said, well, listen, here's what we're gonna do. Here's what we're gonna do. This is a no judgment zone to a certain extent.
To a certain extent.
If you want to come out and you want to have a glass of champagne, do what you do.
Okay, so that's
that. But if you're coming out and you want to smoke some weed,
listen,
we ain't doing that.
You're not going to the bar and taking shots.
Right? We're not going to do that. You know what I mean? So I think you have to because people when they go out, they do have a little. You know what I mean? And I'm not.
People are people,
right?
And they're different. They come from different levels of faith and conviction.
You know what I mean? And so, and I want it to be known, because I don't want you to think because I'm here now you have to switch the game up, and everybody got to try to act different, and then you got somebody running out,
and that's a fear, because there are people who feel like they don't fit in because it's going to be some super sanctified, and I'm not saying it shouldn't be. I mean, maybe it needs to be that place where it is clean and it's dry for whatever reason. Like, what if you have somebody who is a recovering alcoholic or something, and they wouldn't go out if people were drinking? There are different considerations. So I said, as long as you set the ground rules, whatever they may be,
right? Because
different churches and different people have different expectations. If you are a very conservative church in that area, then obviously that's already your expectation. If you're a holiness church or or in that way, and you don't believe in drinking whatsoever, then the expectation would be, hey, as long as you're with us, at least, hey, if we leave and you hang out after, God bless you. But at least while you're with us, would you please refrain from, ordering any drinks? We just want to fellowship and not bring. And some people might really feel like, hey, that just might bring a stain on the church or on the fellowship. Others, like you said, might have a different conversation. I won't judge you. You order a drink. You want your margarita, you want your, and I think most people know how to be more reserved.
Right.
Hopefully.
You ain't grabbing no Hennessy and
Hopefully,
Coke
right. Like 6 margaritas deep. They get the giant one that's like bigger than the table.
Gel shots for the table.
Right.
Gel shots all around. Shots all around.
Right. But here's the other thing. I really want to touch on with that, though, is that for those of you who do like to go out, or you do have a different conviction than those of us who might be more conservative and would never drink in person or in public or at all, is stop acting like you can't have any fun or be with anybody. Because I believe full-heartedly, and we're not having a conversation about alcohol, but I believe full-heartedly that a part of a drinking problem, even moderate, is the social side of the belief, the mental belief that you cannot have a good time and laugh if you don't have a drink in your hand or you're not sipping on something. I know it might be common to you, but it could be a dangerous mindset to sink into, because then honestly, y'all be the fun ones. Right. Even if you ain't drinking, like you're always the funny ones. Even if you're not drinking, like you're the ones I want around. But I don't want you to avoid church events. And that comes from a church that just about everything we've ever done has never, I don't think, ever involved alcohol, that to my knowledge that I can think of. But I have watched people shy away like, oh, that's not my speed. But I'm like, no, like I need your speed to join our speed to bring some life to this, because you might have some stuffy people that are kind of, and I need that looseness. I need a little bit of that fun demeanor you know how to have. And so I think everybody needs to become a part.
Absolutely.
How about a 2-drink minimum?
A 2-drink minimum or maximum? Minimum. Maybe for the singles ministry, if they want to loosen up and get to know somebody.
It was funny because, we walk in, me and my wife were a little bit late. Walk in. And,
of course.
As soon as you walk in there, they start clapping like, y'all clapping,
right?
But and so and I just started. I was like, "Thank y'all so much. I'm so happy to be here." I was like, "I want to let y'all know my wife and I are getting divorced."
No.
Started. That's why. But it's just it broke the broke the ice.
We have an announcement to make at the First Marriage Ministry.
So but you want to have fun there. You know what I mean? For me, that's what I want. I want our group to
be fun. Yeah, absolutely. Everybody knows what a jokester. Both of us are jokesters, and we want to create that atmosphere to the point of pitfalls, which is funny since you mentioned divorce. There can be pitfalls with any type of relational based ministry. Some of them might be people come to the marriage ministry ready to talk about their marriage issues. Like, bro, we just came for nachos.
Right. Yeah.
And you came.
That's not what we doing.
Hoping that we would save.
That's called counseling.
That's called counseling.
That's called counseling.
Or the couple that, one is dragging the other. One is dragging the other to be apart. The unsaved man, or the one that, or the man. Here's the desperate man trying to save his woman.
Or you go
to try to save his marriage. Like, I'm gonna try to go to everything. I'm for real this time, baby. We gonna go to the, like you can feel the tension.
Will you take your marriage ministry to Cedar Point and start fighting?
Cedar Point.
It's been 15 years. We're allowed to talk about this stuff now.
We can talk about it.
We're allowed to talk about it.
I want to hear this.
We watched the whole marriage fall apart outside the Millennium Force.
I want to hear this story.
We watched the whole relationship fall apart at the Raptor.
Hey, it got bad. It got so bad. It ruined the whole Cedar Point trip.
What in the world? That was the best one. They got on the Magnum. They were married. They got off divorce. That was so awkward.
It was a demon drop.
Like, I'm gonna drop you. I mean, that was the most awkward church trip.
Oh my goodness!
In the history of church trips.
Hey, it was 5 degrees and Kaz was in the lake.
Everybody's okay now, by the way. Everybody's okay now. Yeah, I will talk about Caleb. He was out in the beach,
he was on the
writing songs, looking for his love. It was like 10 degrees outside.
Everybody is not okay. They're not married anymore.
Everybody's not okay.
But it wasn't because of that day.
It wasn't because of that day, but we should have done some screening about the health of the relationships before we asked people to be chaperones. They were chaperones.
Oh, man.
And they were crashing out.
Crashing
in front
out.
of the kids.
Oh my God.
It's been 15 years. Ben said we should have went to Kings Island. This wouldn't have happened. Ben said this wouldn't have happened at Kings Island.
Disney World, the happiest place on earth.
We're not laughing at people because they are living their own lives now and they're happy. And who knows? But that was an experience.
That was a crazy
Jeff and I, we've had so many experiences that make us who we are. This is why we created this show.
Right.
Because the stuff we say has basis in truth somewhere. That was funny. I don't even take my wife to see the point no more. I don't even let her go with me to see the point. It's just
My
me
wife
and
bring
the
it
kids.
up. My wife bring it up. Talk about, we going to no. I take it outdoor park first.
Not outdoor park.
We go to the pedal boats in Mill Creek.
Not outdoor park. By the way, Sister KK brought up Outdoor Park. In Sunday school, I'm listening to her. She's like, y'all remember Outdoor Park? I'm like, no. Y'all are old. Sorry, Sister KK. I was not old enough for Outdoor Park, the city of God. Anyway, so there's the marriage ministry, but then there's a need for the singles ministry.
Yeah.
And we already got a couple singles on, apparently. Did you shoot your shot yet, Kellen? Hey, Bishop, God bless you, Hannah. Hey, Greg and Carolyn, love you guys. Preston, bless you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Ben, I love you, Erica. There's a need for, and churches do singles ministry. Now, I don't think I've ever done at any church I've been at a singles ministry. And I'll be honest, I'm a little scared.
Why?
Because I just don't want to be responsible for what could go wrong.
So many things. There's
and I don't know anything about it. And again, I am making an open invitation to those of you who are part of Second, or you've come from another church where it was done well. Bring me your old notes, your outlines. Just steal whatever plan you had at your last church and just bring it to me. Because singleness, period, is such a complicated endeavor in this day and age, especially. And we have, as pastors, every pastor, I'm not talking specifically of anybody, but we have already been privy to the awkward interactions that happen around singleness and relationships as people who start dating and aren't dating anymore, people who have approached one another and, it didn't work out well, or there's a complaint about someone brings something to us. I know that there's a right way to do it. I don't know that way. And you know what? I'm at a disadvantage because I've been married since I was basically a child. So I don't know what it's like to be single as an adult, number one. Certainly don't know what it's like to be single in the church. That's just my testimony. I was 22 when I got married, turned 23. I've never known life as a real adult, so I cannot relate. Okay, I got to add, Scott said, as a former Cedar Point employee, divorce is not the worst thing that can happen in line. So I'm in favor of it. More, I said, Pastor, do you want me to get married or not? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. But I'm just admitting I don't know where to start.
I mean, like you said, it's scary because if this relationship does not work out, somebody gonna leave.
You lose a member.
Somebody gonna leave.
And I think that's a part of the commitment is like, how does that, is this to meet people in hope? I mean, for those of you who have done singles ministry, so school us today. And I'll read the comments, school us. What does it look like? Is it sanctified speed dating? Do you have to sit down, flip through the Bible real quick, and if you get a passage about love, you got to get married?
And I mean, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest here for a second. Say you go to this singles ministry, and let's say it's a fairly decent sized church. So it's 20 single women and it's 7 single men.
Well, that's already the reality.
Okay, so that's the reality.
It's already reality.
Right? It's the reality.
It's like 3-4 times as many women.
So let's say here now, you got 20 single women. It's about 3 of these women that's fine.
I'm gonna let you say it. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna let you say it.
All 7 of the single men.
My church is local, so I'm gonna let you say it.
All 7 of the single men want to find women. It's somebody gonna be left out. It's not equal.
I mean, but it's not a.
So is the purpose of singles ministry supposed to be like a love connection? No.
Or
is it supposed to be living saved and single and encouraging each other in their singleness?
Right. And how to, I don't know, I guess how to present yourself. Or
how to present yourself.
Carry yourself. I see it more as that.
So singles ministry is not meant for hookups, prayerfully.
Right.
Hope not.
Right.
I don't know. I've been married 21 years now, so I don't know. But I
come to church shouting all of a sudden and you ain't never been happy before in your life.
I just figured single ministry was to link up with somebody.
So Carol says, what is the driver behind it? Getting singles together, or counseling, or how to prepare for long-term relationships and engagement and then marriage? I agree. I think it's all of those things. And again, I'm asking some of you that have been a part of it or attended something you thought was very quality to pop in. Kellen says it's supposed to prepare you for marriage.
Right.
Okay. So you got a brother like Big Mike. Big Mike over there come in, you know.
Big Mike about to say, why you call
Big
me
Mike
out?
over there, you know, sexy, smooth guy, got his head all shiny, you know what I mean? And it's a nice young lady. You ain't.
But okay, but that's what I'm saying. Scott said singles ministry looks a lot like married ministry with less men and more jealousy.
Wow.
Okay. Mariah says, I don't need no more encouragement on how to live saved and single. I need a husband. Mo. We're praying for you, Mo. Calm your loins. Get some ice cubes or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Mariah said, my biological clock ticking. Y'all taking too long.
It's going off. It's dancing around like the Beauty and the Beast clock. Like VR guest. Okay, all right. Pastor Locke made it work. I need to know how. But I think that even if the purpose is to encourage people in singleness, to prepare people for marriage, and go over some of those things, it is inevitable that people, male and female, unless it is split and there's a female version and a male version, if they're all coming together, there's going to be some interaction. Now, to the singles who have been to church and gone to churches, you already are looking around. And I'm sure people have either been approached or inquired about at some point. And I kind of hope they are in a way, because it used to be said, and again, but relationships are different. There was the idea of, going steady and pairing up and partnering up and all that kind of stuff. So when we talk about our parents' day and our grandparents' day, it was go to church and find you a good man or good woman. And you got an interest. A lot of people did marry people that they went to church with, that they really did. I first saw my wife, before I even met her formally, singing at my church with her sister and the pastor's daughter when they were visitors at our church. That's when I first saw Shamika, like in a setting. And a couple years later, I actually formally met her in high school, and we were all younger, so probably 15-ish at the time. And that's where you saw sisters. I mean, most of the young ladies I talked to as a young man, I'd never been in the streets. I'd never been out, never did the club thing, even the teen clubs. I really never did any of that. All the people I ever talked to were church girls that I met at church or different churches. I don't think I ever talked to anybody in my own church. No, the one girl I did talk to in high school in my own church, we just started dating. She just got too saved to me all of a sudden, literally, as soon as we started dating. And she knows who she is. Which she's sweetheart now, married and all, doing well. But literally, she threw all her arms. She got like super saved, and I wasn't even trying to be saved. She got saved like I'm throwing all my R&B CDs away. Pastor Johnson said, my dad is the devil. And I'm like, don't listen to my dad. Listen to me. Don't listen to him.
Let me get that R. Kelly before you throw it away.
You keep that Jodeci. You keep that Silk.
So let me ask you this. So
don't you throw that H-Town away. The devil is a liar.
So if the singles ministry is supposed to be about learning how to live single, so that means that somebody who's married
should probably be
running it.
There should definitely be some interaction with married people who are giving the advice and the guidance, unless there's like a crop of super singles who are like alpha singles and they know how to mentor all the frustrated.
I'm just thinking, because how can somebody who's never been married tell you how to prepare for marriage?
How does singles ministry work in a world where people don't even enter into real relationships anymore?
We've got more questions than answers.
I mean, we're curious pastors.
Right.
We're curious pastors, you know. So
obviously, Todd nor I have had singles ministry. So,
but I'd like to see it. So I'd like to hear from some of you. Like, what would you think? So singles outings. Because if you're doing outings again, I believe if I were single and I'm looking, an outing would produce interest. And at some point, I would go from wanting to be molded and shaped into a good man ready for marriage, which I think a lot of people already think they are. Mm-hmm. Then I'm just looking for my best prospect at this point.
Right.
Who am I trying to pluck out of this joint and not make them single anymore?
I think an outing is going to end up with the "let me walk you home," which is going to end up at the "I just want to come up for some coffee."
That's the Jeff maneuver. He's showing you the Stanford method. He's teaching you how he got Tiffany after the revival.
I met my wife in church too.
Exactly. He says, "Y'all burning with truth. I'm burning for you." That's what Jeff said.
Oh, crazy.
I'm burning in a different kind of way, and I don't want to burn in hell. Married people should be running it in a non-weird way.
What's that mean, though? I mean,
a non-weird.
Let's just be honest. Relationships are weird. Dating is weird
because everybody is different.
And I think that's a part of, you know what? That's what we should call the ministry. We should call it the This Is Weird ministry, just to get it on the table. Because there is an awkwardness associated with it. And I think that some people, not everybody, some people treat a church singles ministry the same way they would treat like online dating or these apps. And as almost like, I've sunk to this.
You think?
I think some people feel like this is like, I don't want to say last resort, but like, I'm sure somebody has showed up to like a singles ministry, got invited, like, well, here I am. You know, I've dated people, I've gone out, you know, I've gone to clubs, I've gone to places where you would meet. And I literally, and second is definitely a good example, yours probably is too. I believe our church is big enough and broad enough, definitely, that at some level, there's probably some opportunity. But I also think because culture is different, a lot of families are mixed up. Coach Mike just corrected me. He's off camera. He just shook his hand and said, second ain't big enough. And Warren ain't big enough. So, okay, let's go back to this. We talk about singles ministry, but what if your church isn't really that big in the first place? Your area isn't that big. You already know everybody. So again, if it's about self-preparation, the question is still, where am I meeting these Negroes at? Who am I actually meeting? Because I don't think the purpose of singles ministry is to keep folks single.
Right. So
if the purpose of singles ministry is to prepare and mature people for marriage, there still has to be the problem of where do you meet these people? And to Mike's point, I'll be honest, if I came to Second on a regular basis and I was just a member or just an attendee who just showed up, it doesn't take me but 2 or 3 weeks to look around. I mean, come on now. I'm married and I can scan a room.
Absolutely.
I mean, come on. You just know who's who. You see what's what. And I'm sure the same few folk keep getting approached. I'm sure. Or somebody's mom or grandma, you know, I got a granddaughter in Akron, or I got a, you know, and that kind of stuff. So
I think you need to do an open poll. Everybody's perspective and where they are single is, you know, it's a little bit different.
Everybody's perspective is different.
You got some singles that actually like have a house or have their
they got their own. Yeah.
And then too, I think almost not to overeducate it, but it's a curriculum of some sorts so that you can have a married couple.
Talking to Mike, bro.
Yeah, talking to Mike since you want to say
Mike,
so much.
Mike, you talking, you preaching, Doc.
Go ahead and preach, Mike. Say what you got to say. Singles ministry can easily be exes mingling. Okay, Scott, you on a roll today. All right, Mike's in the shot now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start calling you Bright Mike. Both of y'all. There's too much brightness in this shot. Turn down the tone. All right.
Barge over there.
Not bald head to barge.
No, I was saying, first of all, I think a poll needs to go out there to see what us who are single, what we're looking for. There's also going to be a different maturity. Some people have assets already, some don't. Some are just starting out. Some don't have experience with life. So there's so many different facets. Also, I believe, like, the last thing I said is not to overeducate it, make it like school, but every week, add some value. I don't want to just come where I am personally. I don't want to just come and just kick it per se, but I wouldn't mind learning about, financial literacy or something like that, or how to be able to get a mortgage or something. It doesn't have to be over crazy like that, but give me some options to grow other than me just, you know what I'm saying?
Who was that?
Janice, we're back to light-skinned singers. That's the theme today. Light-skinned folk.
I'm gonna get you, Janice.
Light brights. All I need is Mark Jackson to pop in the frame, and we'll have a trifecta. Where's Pastor Mark at? He's my yellow preaching friend.
How much do you care, Mike? How much do you care? Because obviously you're pretty stable in your life. So as a man looking for a young lady, how much do you care if she's credit worthy or credit rate?
You got to bring your report with you to the singles ministry.
Yeah. For me, I understand, life can happen. Number one, I'm looking for someone that has a servant's heart. Okay. And that's, someone has a servant's heart, it's probably going to be less in respect to just focusing on them. So, thousands of dollars in credit card debt for them to satisfy something that, they're looking for. Hopefully those two things don't line up. So there's some leeway because everybody's growing in different periods. I mean, I was in debt before I was able to get all my my college loans. That was over $145,000 that got
bless God
erased.
Jesus.
You know what I mean? So, but if someone wants to look at me on paper and look at that, I might be a hindrance to someone. So I believe you gotta keep your options open. You gotta spend time with someone. But to me, honestly, that hooking up part is the easiest part for me. I need to make sure that you're gonna be stable.
Listen, Mike said I can snag him. Mike said I can snag him. That ain't the I got the bait to catch the fish. Get him off camera. Get him off camera. Stop. Folks will be inboxing us. Who is that bald-headed brother? Small beard, not big beard. Small beard. Okay, Janet said, what about widows?
Yeah.
You can go to 63andMe.
Scope.
Wow.
Widows need to go to Southern Tavern.
Okay, now come on, Sister McFadden. Sister McFadden. Now I know you know how to pull you one if you want to. I know. You a wood. You Edgar and Ella
What's
Rito.
Sister McFadden say?
She just want to talk about what about widows.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, come on now. You know how to make some greens and pull a man. Make him some neck bones. That's where you at. That's where you at. You make sure you're around for the big, community gathering potluck meal and let them know you made the macaroni and cheese.
Listen.
That's what you do.
All you do, Sister McFadden, is go to Sterling.
Not Sterling.
Go to the funeral. It's a bunch of.
You need to start ushering the funerals again. And be extra kind to the widower.
That's it.
Be extra kind. Whichever brother's crying the most, that's your guy. Whichever guy gets the dove off the casket flowers, that's your man. Janet says, here's what gets me. Dude says they're followers of Christ, but when you say you're not having relations, they say it's a deal breaker.
How, Sway?
Well, I cannot say what I would do as a single. You like to talk all this I'm happy with Jesus alone. And let's just be honest. The culture has shifted underneath us in every which way. People are, and to the point about preparing for singleness, marriage advice. People are getting it every day. It's full of it, or at least they think it is, on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. People have become acolytes. What's that dude that died? Kevin Samuels. Yeah. Male, female. the church is not that central place of information for life issues the way it once was, where the guidance of the pastor and the elders and, that old school, how to get a good man, girl, make sure you do this, invite him over, and he's all nice, and show him that you can cook and all that kind of stuff. There's a whole nother realm of expertise that we've all been, and again, being married, and I've never engaged much of that stuff, but people really do stake their faith in the advice of these people, Absolutely. Either single or married. And honestly, what the preacher in the church has to say is sometimes too simple and not deep enough and doesn't seem to go in depth enough. Sometimes they want us to talk about conversations we're not really comfortable with. Like, I am not going to have a sermon about how to have sex. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to mention the realness of sexuality and all of that.
Now, are you talking about marriage counseling?
Well, either one. Okay. I'm talking about even publicly. People just expect you to be as out there as the rest of the world is about these relational
things. Go buy
things.
No more sheets.
Right. I mean, even that's outdated.
It is.
You know what I mean? Because people are just in situationships
but here's the thing.
now.
In marriage counseling, I am going to talk about not doing this whole what's your body count thing.
Oh, yeah.
I am going to talk about not doing this whole...
What's your body count?
What?
I'm not asking. Okay. I'm just saying, but the fact that people ask that so casually.
They love asking that question. I'm not going to do this whole thing. Don't go this telling everybody you dated. I don't think your past, is that important.
Oh,
well, yeah, absolutely.
Or criminal or prison. Is he going to come kill me? I need to know that.
Right. Absolutely. But I'm just saying.
Is he still locked up? I need to know when he gets out.
Don't go through your whole Facebook saying I dated her. It's just, it makes no sense.
Again, I can't. I'd have to be schooled and put people in charge of that ministry that could handle that well. I'll be honest, the fears for me seem to outweigh the benefits of what it could mean. But I believe in encouraging people. And okay, how about this? If the intent is to meet people, let's say you're on the meeting phase of people, maybe you don't feel like you need to be developed. Maybe you really don't feel that way. Like, I don't need to sit down in a room or go bowling or sit down and have, coffee with people just to tell me how to be a good one. Maybe I would say your best bet is to get involved in ministry and community and endeavors, travel, network. You just need to get out there, period, in a broader way. And for those of us who don't know, we're from a smaller town, live in a smaller town, definitely got to get out of this joint in some ways. I'm not saying you can't meet nobody. I'm sure there are some folk that have just not made a connection, and thank God you ain't cousins or whatever. And I think it could happen. It can still happen, but it is like needle in a haystack digging between, when they say there's pee in the pool, the pool is mostly pee.
Right.
It's just a little bit of water. It's just a little bit of water. Everything else is yellow and warm. But I think just general engagement is your best bet when you're looking. But for those of us who actually want to, and again, you have to be realistic about smaller churches and smaller cities. Where do you go from here after you've engaged, especially with singles ministry? Where do you go from here after the first year or two and the people are still single? Well, is it just fellowship now of people who just want companionship? Like, after what, how much more? And I can only liken it, and I know this is very probably, just Kellen said there's cement everywhere in the pool. I can say from working in job services for 10 years, and it's not totally different, even though it might sound like it's not a fair comparison. But there are people who clearly got it and people who don't. They just got it and they don't. And I'm talking about people who had great resumes, but they just were still in my office every single day. Because when they got in front of somebody or it came time to present themselves or whatever, they just didn't have it.
You should have sent them to Wheatland Tube. They hire everybody.
And I'm not saying there isn't somebody from Wheatland Tube hiring.
Hire anybody up there.
But I am saying.
I like Tatum's. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I am saying that, and maybe it points to her point. It creates expectations that people might get a result out of this, and if they don't get the result, they might blame the church when there are just some things that are unfixable in them. And maybe there is still someone out there for them, but the path they're seeking it through, even through the church in a way, because they start to filter it all through the ministry in the church and the fact that I'm a Christian, and that becomes a part of their frustration. And to Janice's point, people might say, okay, you know what? I tried to do it God's way. All right, I tried. I went to all these classes. I did all this stuff, and the brothers are still telling me the same thing. And some sisters, by the way, because don't be the brother saying you ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Now you sassy.
And please,
You I mean, let's be honest. You're suspect. You're sus and sassy because you choose to go to a church singles ministry as a male and let them folk tell you how to, and all that stuff. And no matter how much we say we want a good man, when the man's doing what he needs to do to become that good man, all of a sudden that becomes suspect.
Yeah.
To so-called church girls.
I would just say for all y'all, whether you're single, married, got a boo thing, stop saying, why don't you act more like the pastor?
Listen.
Let that go.
Listen, do not.
Let that
Rule
go.
number 1.
Please.
Do not make us your model.
Yeah, don't have them come in there act like.
Because first of all, Shamika will call you and set the record straight. She'll be like, that Negro. First of all. She'll be like, first of all. He snores. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, that's a danger all around. And let's not pretend, please let's not pretend, male and female, that people don't come in and start getting eyes and idealizing through what they perceive as the perfect husband and the perfect wife and the perfect marriage. And it can be as perfect as you think it is, but it ain't yours. And you're unfair to hold somebody else to that model. I do want to get back to Tatum's point when she said if we're not careful, singles ministry can create unrealistic expectations that marriage is the only goal. Now that you've arrived if you achieve it. It does create unnecessary pressure to marriage because singles ministry becomes the ministry everyone wants to matriculate out of.
Right.
Now, there are some people who are going to be happy and single, no doubt about it. But there's another side maybe to that danger to that, because there might be some people who are eager to get out. There are some people who are satisfied and single, but a little overly enthusiastic about it. That might be the type of people who preach that sort of happiness gospel of, well, if it ain't working out, then just be single with me some more because I need some more companionship as a single person and I don't want to lose all my bowling buddies.
Right.
Kind of a thing. And like just too quick and too flippant about people not working through to get to that next level, because we are a little pickier and choosier is the better way to say it, and for good reason. Because we used to be taught to accept people with a lot of faults and a lot of craziness just to say that you got somebody. And nobody wants to do that anymore, but it also creates a dynamic where you really are trying to get a perfect situation that doesn't exist. Tatum said, keep my husband out your mouth and house. Thank you, Jesus. But you do need to get out. Okay, the prettiest girls come to your wedding. I don't know. We don't have much weddings anymore. Some of these funerals. I'm joking. Yeah, I mean, we're dealing with a dynamically different world than most of the methods, including proven methods and the proven methods of like the last 20 years. Stuff that worked in the early 2000s, prior to the social media age, prior to the internet expert age, prior to the situationship age. Those methods don't work the same. And I would like to maybe find a way, and I'm speaking for myself, maybe something I'd like to do as we kind of close this out, is I'd like to talk to people who had these things. They thrived in their churches in that day. Yeah. And maybe they saw the shift even as they had it. And they can tell me what that shift looked like. They remember the day when they did have the thriving marriage and singles ministries and all that. And maybe it faded because people's habits changed. You could just meet people on social media. You could travel more. You had dating apps now. You have all this kind of stuff. People have met people long distance and gotten married and different things like that to varying degrees of success. And I'd like to talk to someone who's been through that and say, we had this flowing in 05, 08. Right. And then around 2016, we saw a shift. Yeah. By the time we were fully in Instagram, Facebook era, you could see a difference.
Well, I think it's almost like school because people, like you said, do graduate. And they move on from the single marriage ministry to the marriage ministry, and now your single ministry
and
has
the widow's ministry.
Widow's ministry. But I do believe that in any singles ministry, I think
What if you go from the singles ministry to the marriage ministry and back to the singles ministry in the same church?
What if you go from the singles ministry to the marriage ministry and stay in the singles ministry?
No.
not married, but I'm just going
I'm just keeping my options open. But people believe in open marriages. You don't know what's going on, man.
Right.
Not I'm still in the singles ministry. Baby, I'll be back. We're going bowling.
What you still doing here on that mind?
Right.
My fault.
We're going to B-Dubs and watch the game with the singles ministry. Oh, my goodness.
Y'all so crazy, man.
Scott makes a good point, and I'm just one of these guys right now. It's crazy that arranged marriages work for most of Christian ministry. Wait, Kellen said it happened to me. I'm like, what? Okay, we're gonna have your religiously incorrect counseling. He said not exactly that way.
Oh my God!
I'll tell you what. Every time I talk to a preacher, or even they have a child or a grandson, I'm like, "How old are they?" Shoot me a picture and a resume. I just want to stock a few up for my daughter. I mean, I'd rather do the open marriage is exactly what it sounds like, Kellen. I don't know where you've been. Is you're married, but you can act like you're not.
Absolutely.
With certain ground rules, apparently. But I want to see if I got any more comments. We're getting ready to get out of here, y'all. Here's what I would say, like, about, just singles ministry in general and all that, is I do want to see people graduate, so to speak. But Tatum makes the great point about it's not going to be a graduation for everybody, obviously. And, you have to have enough people in society to actually want to be married. You just do. I have contended that one of the things that has been damaging to the church is the lack of marriages and black community in general. Like, we just don't have enough weddings. We don't have enough joyful celebrations of families getting started in the black community anymore, in society in general.
Yeah.
Our funerals outweigh our weddings like 15-1. Like 15-1. I can do 15 funerals for every one wedding I do.
And what's real sad is we've gotten rid of what they used to call common law marriage.
Yeah.
That ain't even legal no more. People used to say, you
can't tell my uncle that.
Common law marriage.
And Janet makes a good point that is obvious to a lot of people. If you're living together, you're not single. So as Beyonce said, put a ring on it. And how do you treat that? That's a good way. If people are older, and I've met a few pastors, and I've cautiously counseled, especially if you're younger and you can afford it, if you could separate for a season, if you're desiring to do it the right way, and that's your intent, and you do kind of want to backtrack, and people think, well, you can't unvirgin yourself, and I get that, but maybe it's just in your heart to try to honor that way. But at this point,
to a couple, I literally just said that to a couple.
To somebody. Yeah, if you want to try to make that, maybe it's just financially impossible, or it's whatever. First of all, it's harder to tell older folk what to do who have already been through life. You're just grateful that they're willing to take that honorable step and get married. So it's like, what's the point of me asking you to go get an apartment for 6 months and you're 48, and do this whole thing, and not even deeper into abstinence and all this other stuff. Which, of course, I would hope you would. But, I mean, we are where we are. You got 4 kids. They're your wedding party. Right. Your kids are your wedding party. Use hers and ours, But, I mean, there's a lot more giving that even the church does just to push people in these directions. And I think we all know that we're sort of, I hate to use the word compromising in a way, but we're just not doing it with the strictness and the stringency that we once sort of expected of people, because we really want to see people move in this direction. And so I love the fact that we can do it. I don't love the fact that there are so many complications attached to it that really, and let's be honest, we at the end of the day do not have the answers to people's relationship problems. And we know that at the end of the day, especially if they really put their faith in God through the church and their relationship with the church. Now, I understand that their faith in Jesus is because of me, but just because this is the way they live it out, that when it doesn't go well, that could have ramifications for fellowship and connection down the road with all of us. And so there's an extra caution why we kind of keep our hands off of stuff, because, I mean, it is, when Janet says it's a swamp, we see the swamp and we don't want to jump in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Scott just nailed it.
It's impossible to have a serious discussion about marriage without having a hard conversation about what marriage is. Yeah, and you're right.
And I even was going
discuss covenant. Thank you, Karen. Yeah, you have to discuss covenant. She says you have to discuss covenant. We have to talk about what it really is.
I think even all singles, figure out if you really like them. Because I've watched so many married couples, people who have just gotten married. They fall in love and fall out of like them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you stay with them, but you don't like them. You won't tell them. You know what I mean? You know.
Yeah, but that's kind of part of it, though, right? I mean, you love them one day, the next day you don't like them. You kind of go through that cycle.
But and that's a stage you meet once you've been married so long. You hit that skid,
right?
And it's not like you're not in love, not making love, not none of that. But trust me, you got a lot of. I mean, you wonder how grandparents got like that. Oh, shut up, you old hag. You know what I mean? But they still love each other. Like there's love behind that. Shut up. You know what I mean?
But I think there's also like.
There's like. There has to be like.
But I'm just saying, when some people, you know,
it's got to last till our bodies break down.
Right. What I'm saying is like, you know, you said at least. Some people are like, you know what I mean? Do you like what I got on? Yeah, well, it's fine. You know what I mean? If you really like that person, you know, that really ain't working out for you right there. You know what I mean?
I like my wife more than she wants to be liked. but there are also times, and she hates this song because I play it loud in the car with her. It's a Music Soul Child song called I Do. And the first line is, sometimes I don't like you. And he's just talking about the ups and downs of being with somebody. Sometimes I don't like you. You're always doing things that I don't like, you know, but I do. Again and again, I still say I do. And he was just talking about, you know, just how conversation can be hard and difficulty. But I like it because it's the reality of life. It's not just a Hallmark card love. You have to really be committed to each other. And that's something we have to communicate. But also, I'll be honest, those that are desiring, and I'm not saying you haven't tried, but you really got to sit down and listen to some folk that's been in it and done it and be willing to, even us, we're just preachers and pastors. It's probably better coming from parishioners.
Absolutely.
It's better coming from people beside you than the guy above you.
I was reading a book and the guy said, the first page, he said, what if marriage wasn't just to make you holy, but to make you happy?
Right.
You know, we always trying to get married because, you know, we don't want, you know, to burn. You know, we don't want to do all
you
that.
should still want to be happy.
You still want to be happy.
And you want somebody that makes you happy. And Lord, we're not going to get into, you know, deciding if you're going to be happy before you get holy.
Well.
Because that's become the big debate. You know, how do I know if I'll be happy?
Right.
If I don't try to get happy before I get holy.
And you know what? And let's be honest. Everybody's not meant to be married.
Everybody's not meant to be married.
You know what I'm saying? There's some people that just, well, that's another conversation. But yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody's not meant for it. And that's an honest, you know, conviction that you have to come to. And Glenn says it, I'll just leave it on that. And if you're dating 10 years, it's time to move on. It's time to move on, y'all. So put a ring on.
Can we say that? I just want to, can we say, you know, everybody's not meant to be married? I mean, and I'm just saying, you know,
Paul
biblically, I know, but biblically says it's not good that a man should be alone. How do we justify that? Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know.
Is marriage the only way to not be alone?
Well, I would hope so.
I'm glad
it ain't the only way,
right?
But it's
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of questions that came. We have to do a part 2. We have to bring on some people and do a panel and like really just
bring on Mariah.
Well, Kellen wanted to call in. Kellen wanted to. Mariah wants us to just like bring suitors in and just judge them.
Just suitors,
right? This doggone Aladdin.
We'll line them up with the balloons.
Right. We're gonna do religiously incorrect balloon night. Balloon pop. Leah, you said it. We already said marriage is not a status symbol, y'all. Too many women think they have to be married. And a lot of men are looking at this like as a lockdown situation. Like, I want to lock somebody down and you owe it to me, and traditional family stuff and whole menaces and terrorists at the same time.
Let me tell you, marriage doesn't lock nobody down.
Won't ever.
It will not lock a person down.
And it won't make somebody love you or be committed to this traditional life that they don't want to live. You can try to make them a housewife. Now, I'm not saying that makes them a hoe, so to speak, but I'm saying they're just independent minded. We also you can't make a hoe into a housewife. No, that's what you can't make a career woman or somebody who wants to jet set or somebody who has dreams of their own just be some barefoot and pregnant person making you cornbread. You can't make that person be that.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So we always think it's like the worst of the worst, the gutter thing, but there's always so many more options that a lot of us men are not comfortable with because we want to have that domineering figure, but that's not the way life works anymore. It just doesn't.
Especially now, half of them make more money than you anyway.
Yeah. Leah says she has thoughts, and Janet had the nerve to ask, what about sex? Does that ever enter in? I don't know. Ask the Widows Ministry. Hey, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. We don't have no more
Let's
for
talk
you.
about sex, baby.
Stop. It's going to get dangerous. It's going to get dangerous. And so we'll try to have maybe 2 ladies, 2 gentlemen, and maybe we'll have a little chat talk. Religiously incorrect talks, relationships incorrect. I don't know. Relationally incorrect. We'll do an episode of Relationally Incorrect. And maybe we'll have Karen and Pierre being the marriage experts. They could talk about some of those things. But we really appreciate you guys tuning
Pierre
in.
All Pierre is going to do is talk about, call his wife those names, those 20 names. It's my chocolate to my cake.
My cream to my coffee.
My sugar to my Kool-Aid.
That's like 75% of his sermon. I'm like, brother, when you gonna preach? My sugar to my Kool-Aid. My Elon to my Trump.
My weave to my ball head.
What? Yeah, we're gonna do some after show. We're gonna keep picking on Pierre. So tell Pierre to get on so we can crack on him. Hey, y'all. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Follow us on all of our platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. I think we're on TikTok. Check us out on all of our audio platforms. We had a lovely time with y'all. Lots of conversations. Lots of people commenting. We want to see you all as part of the nation, as a part of the community. Until next time, after show coming up in a few minutes.
Peace out.
Peace out.